Hey there and welcome back to my channel, and if you're new, welcome to my channel and thank you so much for being here. Well, you guys, you're probably able to tell from my voice that I'm a little bit under the weather, but if you've been keeping up with my vlogs, I feel so much better than I did when I originally came down with this flu or whatever that's going around. But that is not the point of this video. I want to keep the intro as short and sweet as possible because I'm losing daylight. But today's video is all about YouTube and blogging and how to really take this, what seems like a hobby to a lot of people, into a career and a full-time job. Because I know personally, when I first started this, there was a lot of disconnect and mystery between doing this for fun and doing this as my job, as my career. I asked through Instagram and I asked through my YouTube community some of the questions that you guys have, because truly I think that's the best way to really kind of narrow down the questions or figure out what to tell you in this video. So I'm going to be answering from both of them. If you guys didn't know that I did this question and answer and you're just now realizing I did it, make sure you leave your comments, because maybe I might do this again if there are still a lot of questions and things that you guys want to know. But I'm gonna keep this short and sweet, as I mentioned, so grab a snack, get comfortable, and let's get started. Can't forget to put my glasses on because I always forget to do that. So the first question is, how do I become relevant on YouTube starting my channel this year? First and foremost, congratulations. I know starting a channel can be super exciting. I guess the best way that I can answer this question for you and anybody else who wants to learn how to become relevant on YouTube, for me it was really about being realistic with myself. If I had started this channel kind of deciding I wanted to do beauty, I would not have been relevant or found my niche. So I had to be realistic with myself in terms of what community I was going to try to put myself into or merge with. And for me, I found the plus size fashion community, I mean, before YouTube, so it just seemed like a great fit for me to just go right into the plus size fashion aspect. And I think plus size fashion is still super undersaturated on YouTube. Like, there are a lot of us, but I still feel like there aren't an incredibly huge amount of us on YouTube. So I feel like the best way you can kind of try to make yourself relevant is to just find your niche. Make sure your niche isn't oversaturated, and at the same time, I think that just comes with so many different aspects and so many different steps that you can take. But the number one thing that I think you can do is just figure out what your brand is and what your channel is and really commit to that. I don't know if that answers your question. If there's something else you kind of want to know from that, let me know and I'll go into more detail. Do you think being so open and sharing your life has more pros than cons? Does it add to your life? I don't know, because there are times where I feel like there are more pros and there are times where I feel like there are more cons. I'm an open book, like, in every aspect of my life. I have been for, I mean, my entire life. That's kind of who I am and what I've been. I think there's a major pro, because I think being so open helps in both ways. There are people who have shared things with me that have made me feel more peaceful with who I am. I guess less alone in a lot of circumstances that I've been in, if you guys have shared feeling the same way or having gone through the same things. And then on the other aspect of that, you guys kind of seeing my life and feeling that same feeling, like, oh, she's going through the same thing and I don't feel so alone. So there has been a lot of pros in that case. But then at the same time, opening your life up, I feel like it unfortunately comes with the territory, even though I don't think that any person who puts their life on YouTube deserves to be scrutinized the way that YouTubers can be scrutinized. So those are the cons as well. But I try to concentrate on the pros and understand that the pros are definitely outweighing the cons right now, and I'm very lucky in that case. And at the end of the day, I feel like this is just something that I keep realizing, that's like, no matter who I was, no matter what way I come off on YouTube, I could be, you know, the complete opposite of who I am right now, and there would still be an entire group of people who didn't like me and didn't like the way that I operate. So I can only do what works for me and what fits best for me, and some people are gonna like you and some people aren't gonna like you, and that's just sort of the way the cookie crumbles. How do you come up with new engaging content? The best way that I can say this, and thank you for thinking that my content is engaging, is I try to do a lot of what I watch. Actually, I don't know who I heard this from. I don't remember who I heard this from, but somebody had given their bit of advice, and it was basically make content that you yourself would watch and that you yourself would want to go back and watch yourself, and I've really taken that to heart. For me, it's really about looking at what I like to watch and putting my own spin on it and making sure that I'm also listening to what you guys say. I'm pulling the audience a lot. I'm asking questions and asking for your feedback, and if you're looking at a place to start, I would say just look at what you like to watch on YouTube and put your own spin on it. And that could be hauls, that could be really anything, but for me, I know that it's just really kind of not necessarily replicating what I'm seeing and that I enjoy, but just knowing what stuff that I would gravitate towards watching on YouTube. What made you want to start blogging? Do you have anything you would never blog about? Oh my gosh. So first off, hi Katie, I know who this is. She's a friend of mine. What made me want to start blogging? This is a question that goes back 10 years. I think that there's always a part of me that wanted to blog for, my original reasons for wanting to blog are so different from my reasons now, but originally it came out of a breakup. I had gone through a really horrible relationship, horrible breakup. The whole thing was just awful. And in that breakup, one of the things that I had expressed to my then partner was that I had wanted to start a YouTube channel. I'd wanted to start blogging because blogging had just sort of started at that part. It was about 2010. He was always such a naysayer about it. So I let his voice kind of control me for a little bit, and then when it came time to break away from the relationship, it very much came down to me realizing I had been not doing this thing because of him, and it was to distract myself and it was to also empower myself. So that was the reason I started blogging, and then I was lucky enough that it kind of took off from there. And the second part of your question is, do you have anything you would never blog about? Yes, a lot of things. There are some personal things that I would never touch base on because, they're personal. I feel like I'm not somebody who would ever really talk like health or fitness journey. Like those sort of things are just not me, and they're not what I want to represent. I think that there is an abundance of that out there already. So there's no point for really me to talk about that. The only thing that I would kind of do is show like stretching that I do or yoga that I do or things like that, but nothing about like losing weight or weight loss journeys or anything like that. I'm failing to think about anything else I wouldn't blog about. I'm sure there are so many things I wouldn't talk about, also just because I don't feel like I'm well versed in it. So there are definitely a lot of things I wouldn't blog about. How do you keep vlogs interesting and talk to the camera so easily? Well, first and foremost, thank you for thinking my vlogs are interesting, because to be entirely honest with you, I feel the exact opposite. And how do I talk to the vlog so easily? So to answer your first question, I just again show the stuff that I would want to see in other people's vlogs, and that is a mix of me just talking to the camera and talking to you guys like we're hanging out and showing you things in my life and really like knowing that these are things that I want to watch. Like, to be honest with you, I go back and watch my vlogs. They're memories for me, and I also genuinely, after I export, feel good and happy with the content that I've made and the way that I've edited it and how I'm constantly learning and growing in my editing process. It's a mix of that and just knowing that this is stuff that I would personally watch on my own. And how do I talk to the camera so easily? Honestly, practice. Purely practice. I definitely was not that way in the beginning. I'm sure if you go and look at my earlier vlogs or videos in general, you will see a huge difference between then and now. It is genuinely just something that you learn with time, and I'm sure even from like a year from now, I might look at how I am on camera right now and think, okay, I've changed, I've grown, I've learned a little bit more. So how do you figure out topics for YouTube that are different from your blog posts? I think on my blog, I try to focus a little bit more on styling pieces and stuff like that, whereas YouTube is more about stuff like showing you garments, showing how they fit, etc., etc. I feel like my blog and my YouTube channel are pretty much one and the same in that they pretty much cover the same subject material, just they're different ways for viewers to digest the information. Sometimes people don't like reading things, and that's fine. Sometimes I don't feel like writing things out, so I'll just sit in front of the camera. I think sometimes it really just boils down to what I'm feeling like doing. I think that sometimes just comes down to what I'm feeling, but I've also made a decision to mostly keep with styling outfits and stuff as a blog thing, as a photo thing. How and why did you start off with YouTube? So this kind of ties into the other question that I got about starting blogging, but I had always been interested and curious about YouTube, if no other reason than just for myself. There is a YouTube channel out there of me somewhere, I don't even remember the name of it, from God knows how long ago, probably 2008, who knows, of me making just the most random videos in the world. They don't even make sense. They're just me like going like this to the camera. And that was just me being interested in YouTube, like making videos. When I was much younger and my dad had like a camcorder, me and my sisters and a friend of mine, well, a few friends of mine, my friend Nikki and my friend Julia, we would always be making videos. We would always be like making movies. We would come up with these creative concepts, plan out storylines. We'd all have characters. We'd all have lines that we'd have to read. And we would get so creative and do these things. And I think like for some of us in that group, and we kind of grew out of those things, but I always really loved it, and I loved being creative. My younger sister is very much the same too. She kind of got into that world herself, but that's something that I know that I've been kind of doing since I was a little girl. I think that has always just been something that I loved to do, and then YouTube became a thing, and I thought, hey, like, why not just take my creative side and put it on YouTube? And how do you find a theme for your blog? I love writing, but I don't have a theme. I don't know if you mean necessarily a theme as in like a layout for your blog, or a theme as in like a topic, but I'll answer both questions for you just in case. So in terms of a theme layout, you can very easily go Google like free WordPress themes. There are Etsy WordPress themes that you can buy. I've bought mine because I just feel like it's a little better, even though my theme right now is still so many bugs. It's really infuriating when I have to go back and buy a new one and stuff like that. So that's how you can do it. I feel like Etsy is the best way. Now, if you mean theme as in general topic, again, I really think this sort of came down to what was happening for me in my life at the time. I very much was going through a confidence journey, a body positivity journey, and self-love journey, and that just sort of became what I started writing about, and my own experiences, and then my process of finding fashion and stuff like that. So it just ended up working out for me. So that's how it worked for me. If you're kind of figuring out or trying to figure out your own theme, just look at what is really prominent and present for you in your life. You could even just be a lifestyle blogger, you know what I mean? Like looking at the things around you in your life that go on for you on a daily basis. Hell, even like cleaning and organizing and stuff like that. Those are videos that I like watching too, just seeing other people doing things in their day that motivate me to do things in my day. So I wouldn't put too much of a stress on the topic right now. Sometimes that comes with time and just figuring out what your audience even reacts to as well. I'm a new YouTuber and struggle with video ideas sometimes. How do you get ideas? This really comes with knowing what I watch, and I feel like with YouTube in general, everyone's done everything. There's not I mean, I could think that I have the most original idea in the world, but somebody somewhere did it. So sometimes I'll look at other YouTubers that I really enjoy watching and kind of see what they're doing and say, hey, that's actually a really good video idea. How could I make this my own and put my own spin on it? And, you know, it's a video that I really like to watch and I've really enjoyed. So maybe from there I could do something. So just looking at what other people that you like are doing and putting your own spin on it, or looking at things, you know, thinking about things that you would like to watch and stuff like that. I feel like hauls are a really good way to generate an audience and build an audience because it's just easy. I feel like a lot of people really love hauls. But yeah, that's kind of how I figure out my ideas. And then one thing that really helps me is organizing. So I really just kind of look at my month and try to figure out what's what. And sometimes a video idea can just be something that goes on my daily life, like a morning routine or a nighttime routine. For a long time, I really didn't think anybody would watch those videos, but there's an audience for it. Is it difficult hearing the negative comments people have about your relationship on YouTube? Yes and no. There are times that it bothers me more. I think since Gil and I opened up about certain aspects about our relationship, there has been a lot more harsh criticism, but honestly, at the end of the day, it's our relationship, and I can't have a relationship based off of what works for other people. I feel like another thing to remember and remind myself of is that I'm showing literally like a blip of our day. It's never really going to portray us as we are on a daily basis. I know it affects him because he knows his intentions with me, and I know it bothers him sometimes when people say, you know, he doesn't love you, or he's this and he's that towards you when you deserve better. You know, he knows his feelings for me, and he gets really upset when people say those things. And I just try to remind him, like, people are going to make their own assumptions, and there's nothing really you can do about that. So yes, I guess the answer is yes and no. It is what it is, right? I guess that's unfortunately part of being open about my life on YouTube, is that people will say what they want, but at the end of the day, even if we changed our relationship and became entirely different people, I think that people would still have something to say. So there's not really anything you can do to please the masses. What is your #1 tip for growing a channel, and what camera do you currently use? My #1 tip for growing a channel is learn SEO, which stands for search engine optimization. Essentially, that is just finding the right keywords to use, finding the right title to use on your video. But I really feel like learning SEO and learning how to implement that and figure all that stuff out, and I would go into more detail, but I don't really have a lot of time and the sun's going down. It is the best way to go because it will really, really help you be searchable and get in the top searches, and that will help people find you. And what camera do I use? This is a Rebel T3i. It's a little bit of an older model, but it's one of the ones that like flips out so I can see myself. It's great. I'm still using the lens that came with it, and was like probably like a $500 camera. This model would be significantly cheaper now because it is probably like 4 years old, and it works for me, and I have a microphone that goes on top too, so it just makes that sound quality a little bit better. Do you feel pressured about the YouTube algorithm? I feel not pressured, stressed, because I don't know that I've quite figured it out yet. I have sort of seen certain times work a little bit better for me in the day, and stuff like that, but I feel like the more I try to figure out the YouTube algorithm, the less the YouTube algorithm works for me. So, how do you deal with trolls? Blocking helps. I feel like just reminding myself that trolls kind of come with the territory of growing your channel. Sorry, there was like a weird light that was out there. Trolls kind of come with growing your channel, and that is just the way it is. Like, the more exposure you get, the more trolls you get. So in a way, it's like, I guess I'm just getting more popular on YouTube, and that's just kind of how it goes. So, and also just like knowing that, I mean, there are some people who literally click on YouTube with the intent to be negative and to spread negativity and to be hateful, to be that negative of a person, and to literally want to make somebody else as miserable as you are means that you are not having a great life. If that's their pure intention of being on this channel or watching my videos, and I have people who do that. I've had a few comments from somebody like that today even, who literally their entire purpose, and they have said in the comments their entire purpose was to hate watch me, and it's like, I can't do anything then. There's literally nothing I can do to make you like me, and I don't want to make you like me because I'm just myself, and there's nothing I can do about that. I can't be somebody different, and if you don't like who I am, then I can't do anything about that. So, okay, so I would love to be able to answer the rest of these for you, but the sun is going down. I don't know where my studio lights are, so unfortunately I can't break that out for you, and I hate doing a how to be a YouTuber video and have really poor lighting. I think that's super terrible of me and not very YouTuber of me. So I'm gonna just wrap up this video. You know what I will do? I'm gonna post this and you guys can still hit me with your comments below. Let me know what questions you have, and I will make a part 2 of this with the questions from YouTube, because there's still a decent amount of questions there, at least like 14 or 15. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. It was super fun to sit down and talk about this stuff with you. And again, please let me know whatever questions you have and I will answer them below. And with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video. So don't forget, you can find new videos from me every Wednesday and every Sunday, with vlogs on Friday, and new blog posts every Tuesday and every Thursday. And I'll see you next time. Bye!